So, talks of the new Kingston Smart City project started back in 2016, and now new life has been breathed into it with a recently held forum on the way forward. We want to know what a smart city is, what it would look like, and if this project is feasible. So we're asking tech founder and CEO of Bibrains Caribbean, Raquel Civil, to weigh in on the subject. Good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I am fantastic. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you for asking. First, tell me a little bit about Bibrains.
Sure. So we are a data science consulting company based out of Kingston, Jamaica, and we work with some pretty awesome companies in Jamaica and in the Caribbean, helping them to make the most of their data so they can make decisions. They can see how they're doing against their competitors, and so they can get the insights that they need to be competitive and to thrive.
So BI is really business intelligence.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yes,
and not B, as Simone said.
No.
Tell me about Bibrains, not the... Okay, so tell me about this notion of a smart city. What is that?
Yeah, so a smart city, and as you said, that this conversation has started a very long time ago. Actually, when I was at Cabron Wireless, there were talks about this because obviously it does require private and public sector partnerships for this to be a success. So the smart city really, at the core of it, it has to be focused on the citizens, right? The citizens have to be driving the focus of a smart city. So it should be citizen-centric. Mm-hmm. It should be inclusive, mm-hmm. right? So anyone within that particular geographic boundary, or anyone who visits, anyone who works there should be able to get access to, typical thing that people think about is hotspots, Wi-Fi connectivity, of course, but it's so much more than that as well, right? So it also ensures that we're looking at, how much emissions are coming from vehicles. So smart cities need to be more walkable. And I know in Kingston, that is something that we have to think about, right? So it encompasses a lot of different things, but at the core of it is citizen-centric, and it is also looking at how the city can use its resources more efficiently.
So JPS recently hosted this session.
Yes.
The forum was held in collaboration with US-based project development firm Tutara Group.
Yes.
And so we're talking about improved safety, so people-centric, mm-hmm. but we're talking about improved safety, public Wi-Fi, traffic management, urban planning, environment monitors, among other benefits.
Yes.
So this is a multi-stakeholder project.
Correct.
This is an all-hands-on-deck, different entities project.
Correct.
This is going to take a long time.
Yes.
Okay.
It is going to take a long time. And if you look at other smart cities that persons may know, Singapore, I know Jamaicans like to talk about Singapore. Singapore is one of the cities that would be deemed as a smart city. I know Jamaicans travel, so New York City, that's a smart city as well. There's Oslo in Norway. There's a lot of others, Helsinki. So if you think about these other cities and how they've done it, a lot of them started their projects back in 2014. 2000 and even sometime in the 2000s, right? So what they did was they started obviously focusing on the citizen, focusing on how they can help persons to make the most of this. So you're attracting people to work in this hub that you're creating. You're attracting people to live in this hub. And New Kingston's pilot project, I think, came about from 2016, and 6 years later, there's an initiative now to roll this out and to make this happen by 2033.
And New Kingston because?
Well, New Kingston, I think because it is, I know JPS is a strong partner in this, and they have their headquarters there. New Kingston is the business hub for the capital city. And we do have a lot of persons that will go in and out of New Kingston, either visiting, either working, or even residing in New Kingston.
And all of these things about safety and traffic.
Correct.
And all the rest of it.
Yeah.
New Kingston is famous for a lot of these.
Yes.
So 2033 is when they're looking to effect this, essentially.
Right.
So the work between now and the next 10 years, What will that look like in terms of readiness?
Yeah, so that's gonna look like a lot of different moving parts. Again, public, private sector working together. I think there are some key drivers, the hotspots that are being created with the partnerships between digital, cable and wireless, JPS. That is important, ensuring that persons are connected. I think at the particular launch, Minister Vaz mentioned that there is a drive to have 10% of the JUTC fleet being electric vehicles or EVs. I think it's by 2035 or something like that. So it does mean that we need to have less emissions, right? We need to think about being carbon neutral. We need to think about
CCTV.
Yes, surveillance is a part of it because surveillance, the benefit is safety, correct? Yeah. We know Jamaica in terms of crime and all these other instances, and while persons may feel a little bit, on the fence about, heavy surveillance, because there's instances in China and other countries, and they may have some fear, but, it will help with crime because you're able to know, detect things that may happen. You have a face, you have image, and all of these things will help in the fight against crime.
What do the citizens need to do in effecting this? Or are we just waiting to be the beneficiaries? Have a role to play?
Yes, citizens do have a role to play. I would say that for one is to be more open about having a smart city, right? Because there are a lot of benefits. While there are drawbacks, the benefits do outweigh the cons, right? So the pros outweigh the cons.
What would you say are some of the cons, Raquel?
Some of the cons. So again, privacy.
Okay.
Right, with the surveillance, right? But then we have things that are being passed and things that the government is doing, like the Data Protection Act.
Correct.
That will help to address some of those, but this is just the beginning, right? So even in the US, they have put forward a legislation act for IoT. IoT means Internet of Things. So if you think about a smart city, everything is connected to the internet. Your phones, sensors and traffic lights, stoplights, the cameras.
Why that's all I'm afraid of it? Okay. So if your internet go down, then the whole city is shut down?
No, and that's the thing about building a smart city is you want it to also be resilient. So it's really trying to get to this perfect model of what an urban lifestyle should look like. So in that resilience, you can actually create what they call little islands, right? So if the grid goes down for JPS, they can sort of create like an island where the smart city would not be impacted because it has its own little backup
redundancy. What you saying to me? Oh, that's
These are key
exciting.
things within a smart city.
Oh,
correct.
Wow.
Yes.
So we should be looking forward to this.
Absolutely, we should be. I do think that there are a lot of benefits for the citizens, a lot of benefits for Jamaica, and I think New Kingston could be the start of that, and it could go to downtown Kingston, it could go to Montego Bay and other parts of the island, and I do think that we should be more open to it and just know that this is a journey that we're going on. And I think for us as citizens, we need to ensure that we're holding the government accountable so that we're thinking about privacy and security concerns, so we have the necessary legislation to protect us as well.
How do we do that? Lobby, advocate?
Yeah, lobby, advocate, ensure that our voices are heard, right? Having conversations like this is actually very, very important, right? So we can think about it from a neutral perspective, look at the pros, look at the cons, and we can put that forward to persons so they can think about what this will look like for them and how they can contribute to being an active part of this smart city.
Wouldn't that be great, though? I think it's a great idea, and I think if we can really pull it off, it would be fantastic.
It would
benchmarking across the region, would we be like the first Caribbean country to be implementing a project like this?
We would be the first Caribbean country to be Yes, exactly.
My gosh.
So I was recently in Johannesburg, right, in South Africa last week, and they've started their smart. You would think Johannesburg is a smart city if you visit.
I would think so.
They're not.
They're not?
No. They started their project, I believe it was 2014 or 2013, and they're still going through and navigating, trying to get to that point of all of these different components of a smart city. But they're on their way. They're a little bit further ahead with some things than us. We're smaller. We need to understand that is also an advantage because we can, do things a little bit faster. There's 16 million in terms of that population within that particular urban area. Well, for Kingston, we're like 1-point-something million, right? So it's different. So
for sure.
we have the advantage
to
get this done.
You were in Joburg last week. That's where you get that lovely frock.
That is exactly right.
Did you bring another for a friend? Just asking. Excellent insights. It's exciting times, man. Technology is really making things
very exciting.
Really exciting, and you are in the thick of it, Raquel. I can only imagine how exciting this must be for you.
It is absolutely exciting.
Thank you for sharing your insights with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Tech founder and CEO of Bibrains Caribbean, Raquel Civil. Heading to a break. Second edition of News in 5 comes up right after this.